I finally did it. I finally completed LEGO Harry Potter. All 7 years of it. Harry Potter was my personal favourite flavour of LEGO game out of what I'd call the quintessential quadrilogy of LEGO games. And unlike Star Wars, Batman, or Indy, this was the only LEGO game that I properly tried to complete as a kid, but I never quite could. Part of why I've never managed to complete it before is due to the considerable length of the game, being spread across 8 chapters, and probably having the most stuff to do within each chapter compared to its contemporaries, creating the biggest grind of them all. So let's get into it, and see exactly what this game has in store for us. First up, we have the hub area, and for other LEGO games in the quadrilogy, the hub only serves to hold level entrances and a shop, but Harry Potter uses it very differently. Sure, you have Diagon Alley and the Leaky Cauldron for shops and free play, but the rest of the hub is used to unlock most core mechanics in the game, like spells and potions, and as organic level entrances throughout the story. Speaking of levels, that's where the bulk of the work is. There's 6 per chapter, and 8 chapters, making 48 levels in total. These levels take the most time, seeing as you'll play them all at least twice, and some of them, many more. Each level only has a small handful of collectibles to find, but with so many levels, they add up to most of the collectibles in the game. The first collectible you'll typically get in each level is True Wizard, a meter that tracks every stud you collect in a level that must be filled in a single attempt. Most of the time the stud requirement is well within reach in story mode, so if you diligently collect every stud you can find, you'll have these all in no time. Even more so with some of the stud multipliers. And while you're searching for studs, you're likely to find one of these guys, a student in peril. Each level has one to find, and usually the difficulty is finding them in the first place, but they're just to check that you have a certain spell or special character. Special characters are also found here. They're unlocked by finding their respective tokens throughout these levels. Each level has 3, and some of the tokens are easy and just hang around behind a breakable object, but most of these require some simple puzzle to be completed, like igniting a group of torches or removing a bunch of Devil's Snare. These puzzles are indicated by a counter of a specific colour when breaking or interacting with an object, but most of these puzzles in a level are used for a different collectible though, crest pieces. Each level has 4 crest pieces to find, 1 for each Hogwarts house, and they're found in the same way as characters, so you'll typically get them both at the same time. To finish up here, each collectible will also give you a gold brick, so combined with an extra one for finishing the story mode, each level accounts for 4 gold bricks too. Now, despite how much stuff is in these levels, they don't have all the collectibles in the game, so with how much bigger the hub is now, that's where all the spare collectibles are. Most of the things in the hub I've already talked about, like spare character tokens, students in peril, or even just loose gold bricks, and a lot of the hub collectibles are pretty inconsequential. Like, can you really tell me that I need Gryffindor Prefect, or Muggle Boy, ever? But the main things to find in the hub are red bricks. Red bricks are possibly the most valuable collectible in the game, as they provide you with powerful extra features, like Stud Magnet, Fast Magic, Invincibility, or Christmas? Some of these are a lot better than others, but they're all worth finding, so if you see an owl, try looking around. It might be worth your while. Either way, these hub collectibles will likely be done as a final sweep after finishing the story when you have the last key mechanics like Dark Magic and Reducto. Right, so far I've covered every collectible in the game, but there's still a bunch of gold bricks left. And that's where we get to some of my favourite parts of LEGO games, the bonus levels. Although, that being said, most of the bonus levels in Harry Potter aren't all that fun to complete. Sure, there's the Voldemort level where you basically just shoot up London, and the obligatory Million Stud Challenge, and both of those are really fun. But this was the first LEGO game to have a level creator, so of course, most of the bonus levels are made with that. The problem is that there really isn't that much you can do in the level creator before it starts feeling stale and monotonous, and I don't think anyone actually enjoyed doing all 12 of these bonus levels. They're just boring. And if we're on the topic of annoying things about this game, I think it's time I address the elephant in the room. So far, I've been referring to this as one game, but as you probably know, LEGO Harry Potter is 2 games. One for the first 4 movies and one for the last 4. Sure, there's the combined version now, but it's not on Steam, and I'm very annoyed about that. And while we're on the topic of version differences, each game was on a different console. 1 to 4 was on the Wii, and 5 to 7 was on the PS3. And because there's a Nintendo console on that list, Both games were made with very different architectures in mind, making both games look pretty starkly different to each other. But I can put up with that. The graphical problems I can't put up with are these. All these weird lighting artifacts. Sure, these artifacts are a result of some of my graphic settings, but if I don't use these settings, a lot of the levels in the game will reliably crash, specifically the ones in the Forbidden Forest. Now, the other big problem with these games is what causes these crashes: lack of RAM. And no, it's not a problem on my end. My machine has 32GB of RAM, more than enough to play a 14-year-old Wii game. But given that the game is 14 years old and made for the Wii, it's assuming 32-bit hardware, meaning that if the game ever exceeds 4GB of RAM, it will crash. And with how unoptimized these Steam ports are, that happens a lot. Especially if you spend a long time in a level. And remember how many collectibles there are to find here? Yeah, Steam was probably a bad choice to play these games on. But at least it's one platform. Alright, I think I've complained enough now. But I think that's everything I wanted to talk about. And all things considered, I still think Harry Potter is the best game in the quadrilogy. And to be fair, most of the large problems with the game are a result of its age or awkward porting artifacts. And that's mostly on me for picking such an old game on arguably its worst platform. Anyway, to round out this video, let's finish with a grand total of everything we need to find. So, out of the 400 gold bricks, 48 are from finishing each level, and another 48 each from True Wizards and Crests. 110 are from Students in Peril, 48 of them in levels and 62 in the hub. Then there's 40 from red bricks, 24 from the shop, 12 from bonus levels, and the remaining 70 are from miscellaneous hub objectives, be it lessons or loose bricks. I'm not bothered to count these. And lastly, there's 367 characters to unlock, 144 from levels, and the other 223 either unlocked by the story or found in the hub. I'm not bothered to count these ones either. And that's it. That's everything you need to complete this game. These 2 games. Also, this counts as a 1,000 sub special.